Okay, here's the introduction to Fire and Rain. Um, it's by request of a student. I always played it, but I never played it exactly right. I used to paraphrase, so because I had to teach somebody, I had to learn it right. So now I'm going to share it. Okay, I need a capo at third fret, and let's hope I play it right. One more time. A little slower. One more time. Slow again. Okay, at regular speed. All right. Okay, now we're going to break this down measure by measure, chord by chord. Um, so, all right, so your capo is going to be at the third fret. When you capo your guitar, always retune because capo's pulled up the string sharp as a rule. Okay, so these kind of finger picking things, what makes them sound nice is you make chord shapes and then you do like some finger picking with it. So you're basically playing through changes, just instead of strumming, you're finger picking. And in this case, it's a really particular pattern. So let's just go through the chords first. The first chord is this little baby F shape that you might know as, but it's at the, well, what used to be the 8th fret. Now because of the capo, we're going to consider this the 5th fret. We're basing everything on where the capo is. The capo is like your new nut. So here's your first chord. It's the top 3 strings. That's like I'm calling it this little baby F shape with your open 5th string. And then the next chord is the same shape, 2 frets down with the open 6th string. So you see I'm plucking the top 3 strings with my first, second, and third fingers and hitting the bottom string bass note with my thumb. And then the next chord is this D shape, which is really concert F now because of the capo. And actually, and in the music, you see it's hammering on. Like when you play the chord, it's always going to be you're going to hammer on that second finger. All right, so that's the D. Now the A shape. And same thing, they're hammering on that third finger on the second. A lot of hammer-ons in this. And in the beginning of the third measure, another A. E shape, which is really G. And then that last chord is a major 7 chord. It's without the capo, it's a G major 7. Interesting shape. Pretty. And with the capo now, it's a B flat major 7. So we have this. Our first chord. Oops, sorry. That's the first chord. Second chord. D shape, A shape, A shape again, E shape, and then that major 7 chord. Okay. All right. So now the picking hand part. All right. So again, we're going to make everything's based out of these shapes. So the very first move is you're going to actually come back, and you're going to start that shape with a slide up to it with the second finger. So what's 1, 2, 3, 4? So you're going to start the fourth fret from the capo with your second finger, and as you pluck this fifth string, going to go, and then put these other two fingers down to make this first shape. And the other thing to remember when you're doing this is once you get your fingers down, let them stay there. Just let them stay there, because they need to ring out. That's what makes it sound nice. All right, so that's the first chord with the finger picking, and then you're just going to slide down to that next shape using your second finger on the third string again. So now, this time as you pluck the sixth string. So going up is plucking the fifth string, and now going down, you're going to pluck the sixth string, and again hit that note on the third string. So, and again, you see my thumb is playing the bottom string, and these three fingers are all assigned to the top three strings. Right? When you do finger picking like this, I like to think everybody plays their zone. So everybody has an assigned part, so to speak. Okay. Now the next chord is D. Okay. So, and in that, before you play that D, there's that you're playing that open D string just before the measure line, as you can see. So you're hitting that open D, and then you're doing a hammer-on. You're doing a hammer-on on that D. So that whole thing is, so open note. And again, you pretend like you're making a D, only you leave your second finger up because you want to hammer on that second finger. Lift up and play the D again. So you got, and now you're going into the A in the second measure. Same thing, you're just going to start with a hammer on. You're going to hit the low A string with your thumb, and with these three fingers on the top three strings. And so you hit this, the A string, and as you're hitting those top three strings, you're hammering on that third finger. And then you're doing that series of A notes. Low A, or the A, open A string, and then the, well, it's not actually, they're C's now because of the capo. So you have the open A string, and then what's now the second fret on the third string. So that's so it's funny out of context, but so now if you do it, that's it. And then it finishes up with, seeing that last piece of that second measure, that 3-2-0. That's just a series of pull-offs with your pinky. You're going to put so you have an A chord, and you're going to put your pinky on the second string on the new third fret. So that whole A thing is, again, it's okay. All right, so that whole, those first two measures sound like this. One more time, that was a little sloppy. Now third measure. Third measure stays on A. So we're plucking that low A string with our thumb, and now we're hitting the top two strings as we're hammering on the third finger. So we're hammering the third finger, and then we're hitting the note in the A chord on the third string. And again, everything's in line here. My fingers, my ring finger's playing the first string, my middle finger's playing the second string, and my index finger is playing the third string, while my thumb hits the fifth string. Okay, so you have that first beat, and then it just goes second string, open A. So that's the whole piece of that. That's the whole A chord in the beginning of the third measure. Okay, and then we have our E shape, right? Which is it's probably the easiest move of the whole piece. So it's just, so you're gonna pluck. So now we're using strings 2, 3, and 4. So now I shifted my fingers back, and my third finger is now playing the second string, my middle finger is playing the third string, and my first finger is playing the fourth string, while my thumb hits the bottom string. So we have that's the E chord, or the E shape. It's really a G chord. All right, so that leaves now the last, that G major 7, which is really B flat major 7. Okay, so now this also starts, see that note comes in before the measure line. So as you're playing that note, you're going to make that chord, the shape. So we have this. You're going to play that open D string with your first index finger. Whoops, sorry. And then, so now we're using that first little run. See, it's just it's using the open, I'm sorry, not the open. It's using the 6th string, the open 4th string, the open 3rd string, and then the 3rd fret on the 2nd string. So and you're just going to, we'll call that a forward roll. So thumb, index, middle, ring finger. All right, so that's that first beat of the 4th measure. Okay. And then does that back and forth from the bass note here. So actually, right after that first bass note, it still stays on this open D. So keep your hand in that one spot. So we're doing that forward roll, back to the open string, the open 6th string, and then the open D string. Just like that. So, and now then it does the open string again, and it goes back and forth to the top 3 strings. So if you follow the notation, it's again it's like so. So that whole measure is So this is the kind of thing you have to, when you read it first, you have to do it nice and slow. Pay attention to what your fingers are doing. Do it really slow, and then just let the speed and the come, and it will. Okay, so that whole last two lines are, I'm sorry, last two measures. One more time. Okay. All right, and now just the whole thing one more time. Good. All right. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Okay. Have fun with that. Thanks so much, and until next time.